Searching Standard & Poor's Net Advantage. The purpose of Standard & Poor's Net Advantage is to provide investment advice to individual investors, so the information that is provided is targeted at that audience. There is a lot of information here that can be useful to you, but it is not the only source to look at for information about your company. Also, keep in mind that this is a database that the library purchases for you to use. That is why you have to log in from off campus so that you will get to the material that's purchased for you to use. In the past, some students have gone to www.standardandpoors.com to do their searching. That is the free stuff that the company puts up for anybody on the web. It doesn't have the same depth of information that we pay for you to use, so you won't get credit on your assignments in this class for using that as your source. As you probably know by now, you can get to the purchase database by starting at the library's website. So I'm starting at the LCSC website, click on Library, and get www.lcsc.edu/library. Click on Find Articles and More, click on the Databases link, click on Business, and then scroll down through the alphabetical list of business databases until you get to Standard & Poor's Net Advantage. I'll start by typing in the name of the company, Disney. The company overview page can give you a nice little succinct description of the company and its current strategy. Over here on the left side of the screen, we find the table of contents list for the report on this company. We're going to look especially at the stock report and the industry survey. You can look at all the pieces if you like. I will warn you that their list of competitors are usually too broad to be of very much help to you. The company profile described in another video will in most cases provide a more focused list of competitors than Standard & Poor's. You can find pieces of financial data on this website, but keep in mind that this database is sold to advise investors, so the reports by Standard & Poor's analysts are the value added of this product. Later on in the semester, when you are analyzing your company, I will deduct points if you fail to cite at least the stock report or the industry survey. On the table of contents, I'll click on the stock report. I prefer the PDF version because I can readily see their buy, sell, hold recommendation with up to 5 stars. So Disney is currently getting a buy recommendation with 4 stars. The report goes into detail about the analyst's reasoning behind the recommendation. It's a good place to go to understand the company's current and short-term future profitability. Don't limit your research to just the buy-sell recommendation or the stock price. You'd be selling yourself short that way. Companies don't operate in a vacuum. There are forces in the economy and society that are going to affect every company in the industry, regardless of individual company characteristics. For example, a deep recession with high unemployment rates would affect all the entertainment companies because consumers would have less discretionary income to spend on extras like movies and video games. So it's important to keep in mind the state of the industry. Near the bottom of the table of contents list, we see industry surveys. I'll click on the HTML version because I like the hyperlinks to the different sections of the report. Keep in mind that this is a report on the entire industry, so not all the trends they discuss will apply to our company because they might not be in that line. So, for example, I don't know how much of Disney's profits come from the music business, so all this discussion about the problems in music sales and distribution may not affect them as much as a company like Sony. You have to pick out the parts that apply to your company's business. Each of these hyperlinked lines represents a separate section of the industry survey. Each one can be helpful, from the industry trends to how the industry operates, to how to analyze a company, to comparative company analysis. I have found in the past that students have skipped a lot of this analysis that could really guide them in their understanding of the company and the industry in which it operates. Okay, so those are the pieces from Standard & Poor's that I think will be the most helpful for this particular course. Let's talk a little bit about how to cite what you find in Standard & Poor's. Here are some sample citations in APA format. The first citation is for a stock report. Since there are no authors on S&P stock reports, you would start the citation with the name of the overall report, that is, the name of the company. I usually look at the overview page to see how they are listing the company name. So that would be here, overview, there's the name. Include the date of the stock report. Let's look at it. There's the date. Oops, that's a different date than the one I wrote here. Include the date of the stock report, the fact that it is found in Standard & Poor's stock reports, which is italicized because it is the name of a publication, then the URL where it was retrieved, namely www.netadvantage.standardandpoors.com. Remember that you will be docked points for citing information found at www.standardandpoors.com, the free website for the public. The industry survey is a little different because it is the only part of a Standard & Poor's report that lists an individual author. The author. So the author's name comes first. Last name, first and middle initials, date, the name of the industry survey, the fact that it is in Standard & Poor's Capital IQ industry surveys, and once again the URL from which it was retrieved. Let the librarians know if you need any help with accessing or citing this resource.